Hello, everybody. Welcome to tonight's English class. The last class, we are going to review new content because next class we're going to just check over everything that we have been practicing since our last exam. So yeah, today we are not going to check all that content that we have been working on these past few weeks, but we are going to talk about something else, a new structure that I just want you to study before the next exam. So it's about habits. That's what we are going to review. Of course, it's a kind of advanced a structure that we're going to review is not the same as in the present simple, for example, talking about your present habits or your daily routine. Is a little bit more complicated than that. Not too complicated though, but still quite an interesting structure. So this is a structure related to past and present habits and also new habits. All right, so I'm hoping that we can review the structures first and then we can move on to practice, especially speaking, because I think that this is a nice topic in order to be able to speak. So let me go to the document where we are going to start reviewing this. Let me share again my screen. Just so you know, as we are still working based on the objectives document, we have covered all of the lessons up until unit 6, which is narrative tenses. After narrative tenses, we did a little pause in order to talk about indefinite pronouns. That's not on the objectives list, but we still had a look at them. We also had a look at possessives, which is not in the objective list again, but it's like extra material. Today we are going to work on Unit 7. Unit 7 is only related to used to and would for talking about past habits, all right? But I expanded it a little bit, not only to talk about past habits, but because I also wanted to talk about present habits and new habits, all right? So yeah, we're going to start by used to, which is something that I'm pretty sure that all of you know how to use, so it's not going to be a new structure. It's just a review of this structure. And then we are going to go to work with 2 more structures related to habits. All right. So this is where we are now, Unit 7. Yeah, let's go there. Close this. And what we have here, it's like a little chart. Let me make this a little bigger. This is a little chart that gives us the structures that we use in order to talk about past habits, new habits, and present habits. Okay, so the structure that we use to talk about past habits, it's used to, definitely used to. As I said, you may be very familiar with used to because that's also something that we studied last semester, but also because it's a common thing to study. So I'm pretty sure that all of you already know how to use used to. So again, used to, it's useful for talking about past habits. Things that we used to do when we were young, or for example, when we were at school, and we don't do anymore. Something that it's all in the past, it's over also. All right, so to talk about past habits, we're going to use the structure used to. And yeah, we have a few different ways of using this. For example, if I'm going to use it in the present, sorry, not in the present, I'm talking about the past. In the affirmative way, in affirmative sentences, I need to use it with a D in the end. I used to play with small bottles. All right, so what I need after used to, it's always the base form, okay? This is what we have here. Used to plus the base form of the verb. So the verb that follows, it's never conjugated. That's an important thing that you need to keep in mind. It's not conjugated. And yeah, that's pretty important because in the other two that we're going to review later, this is something that changes, okay? So with used to, you don't conjugate the verb. So I used to play with small bottles, all right? That's a thing that I used to do when I was a child. Then if you're going to make it negative, it is also possible. Let me change the color. And when you are going to make it negative, you have to use didn't, the auxiliary for the past, and then the verb use, it's in the base form too. Why? Because you don't need to conjugate a verb in the past when you have the auxiliary verb did, right? So I didn't used to play with small bottles. So the only thing that changes is the addition of did and also use without a d at the end. So I didn't used to play with small bottles when I was a kid. And then if you want to find out if another person used to have the same habits than you can do it by asking the question, did you used to play with small bottles? And of course, then you can know if the other person has the same habit than you, or if they had this habit that you are curious about, right? So this is just for questions. Again, because you have the auxiliary verb did, then you are not going to use the D at the end of use, all right? So did you use, not used, if you wish, right? So when we're speaking, it's very difficult to hear the difference between used and used. Because I used to play, I didn't used to play, they sound very similar. Why? Because these two sounds get together. Let me mark. These two sounds get together. I used to. All right, so yeah, that's the deal with used to. Now we have another way of referring to past habits. And this is also something that we studied last semester. And it's related to this word. Let me write it here. It's related to would. All right, so we studied this. I'm pretty sure that most of you remember about it. So yeah, I'm trying to just bring it back so you can start using it again. But yeah, the difference between used to and would, it's very small. It's very subtle, if you wish. Does anybody remember the difference between used to and would for past habits? Nobody remembers. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but
Yeah, Sash?
good evening.
Hey.
Yeah, I think that is we use would when we are talking about something that we used to do in the past, but it's a good memory, something that we remember with love or something like that.
All right, happy memories. Yeah, very good. Thank you, Sash. It's totally true. Happy memories. What else? Nicole, did you want to say something different?
No, happy memories or regrets?
Regrets also? Okay, good. Thank you, Nicole. All right. Yeah, and what is the difference between used to and would? So apart from, yeah, when I use would, it's usually related to happy memories. That's true. Yeah. Is there any other difference apart from that? We have something in the chat with a cue from the past. There you go. Yes. I wouldn't say that we use it for regrets. It may have the connotation of regrets, but it's not necessarily for regrets. So yeah, I would keep it out. But the happy memories thing, it's completely true. Definitely. All right, so another thing that we have in the chat is that we use time markers when we are using would to talk about past habits. Okay, so time markers. What does that mean? It means that you need to tell me when that happened. Because if I just say I would go to the park, just like that, if I say I would go to the park, I don't know, or my listener, my reader, doesn't really know if I am talking about the past or if I'm talking about something that would happen in the future, like a future desire. Because if I translate that into Spanish, it's like iría al parque. Yeah, so yeah, it's confusing because I don't know if you're talking about the past or a future desire, right? So that's why it is very necessary to use time markers with would. So I would go to the park as a child. That makes more sense, okay? As a child. I would go to the park every afternoon, also, to give clearer information, as a child. So what is the time marker here? The time marker is as a child. Even though I'm not expressly saying when was that, when that happened, but we know that it was in the past because I'm not a child anymore. So you can imagine that that was a long time ago, right? So, yeah. Then I have another example there in the chat. Let me copy it. I would play video games at my childhood. It's not at, in my childhood. Yeah. Also related to the time when I was a child. We use would sentences with a specific time. Yeah, the specific time is the past. But now when I say time markers, you need to tell me when that happened. All right, so it would be as a child, in my childhood. It could be in 2021. It could be during the pandemic. When I was in school 2 years ago. Last month, I don't know if it's something recent, yeah? So all of these are time markers. Let me put them right below the time markers word. All right, so yeah, that's what I mean. Time markers tell us specifically when that action happened. So when you're using would, you usually use it to talk about happy memories from the past. And of course, it's to talk about past habits, things that used to happen when you were a child or in your past. But also it's very necessary to use it with a time marker so we know specifically that you are talking about the past. So it can be like, I used to go to the park as a child, or I would go to the park every afternoon as a child. Both of them mean exactly the same. There is not a difference in the meaning, okay? I used to go or I would go, exactly the same. What changes is that this, the first one, I would go to the park, gives us the idea that this is a happy memory, like it's something that you like, all right? So also, another difference would be that used to tends to be more common, if you wish, like we use it more often. Other than that, it's not, there's not a very big difference, and especially there's not a difference in meaning, okay? The meaning is the same. So you can use one or the other and they would mean the same. Also, when you use used to, it's not mandatory to use the time markers, right? So it's not an obligation, because just because you're using used to, I know that you are talking about the past. It's not confusing, but would is confusing if you don't give me the time marker, all right? So I would use the time marker always when I'm using would to talk about a past habit, but I wouldn't use it always when I'm using used to, because it's kind of obvious that I'm talking about the past. It's not necessary. Let me check what else we have in the chat. The verb is in the base form of would. Yes, with would, it's also the verb in the base form. As you can see, I used to go or I would go. Because remember that after modal verbs, you never conjugate the verb that follows, right? So would is still a modal verb. So we don't need to conjugate it. Even though we are talking about the past, I don't know, I don't understand that question. It doesn't have a context. When we use would plus base form, need some context about the past habit in the past. Yes, right. Yeah, that's definitely true, Marcelo. So if you're using would, you need some kind of a context that's gonna tell us that, yeah, it refers specifically to the past and it's not a future desire. Alejandra, tell us.
Thank you, Val. Hi to everybody. No, I just want to clarify that the sentence that you read in out of context was the one that follows the last one.
Oh, all right. So the verb is in the base form, would, even though we are talking about the past. Ah, okay. Yeah, now I get it.
Okay, thank you. But
Yeah.
I know I have it clear.
All right, yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you for telling me, because I thought they were two separate questions. But yeah. Yeah, even though we're talking about the past, the verb remains the same. Yep, that's a good question. Yeah, so other than that, we don't have a difference here. They mean the same, they express the same idea. Used to is more common than would. Would is more related to happy memories, so you would use it especially when you want to share something that you feel happy about, yeah, that you feel happy remembering. Yeah, apart from that, that's what we have. It is what it is. All right, so do we have questions, specific questions about would or about used to? Good. All right, so yeah, that's it. We're going to practice in a little while, but we are going to practice along with the rest of the structures that we are going to have a look at tonight. Because, yeah, as I told you, this is not something so new, so I thought that it would be a good idea to mix it with other structures. Yeah, so now let's have a look at get used to, the second structure that I want to talk about tonight. Get used to. And this one is useful for talking about new habits. New habits. So I got used to cleaning the small chapel. I got used to cleaning the small chapel. So what is different? First thing, what is difference between the structure of used to and get used to is that we are not going to use the verb, the base form here. We are going to definitely use the ing form, the gerund. Okay, so yeah, that is kind of a big difference here. All right, so I got used to, it could look at this, I'm using it in the past. I got used to cleaning the small chapel. Let me mark it a little bit, right? Yeah, so I got used to, I'm using it in the past. What else do we have? Oops. I'm trying to take out the underlined. All right, so I have to get used to the noise. Now that is the present, get used to. But it's the same idea, all right? Got used to, it's in the past, get used to, it's in the present. But they express the same idea. I have to get used to the noise. Or I have to get used to them, if you're talking about people, all right? So yeah, it is also possible to use them with nouns, not only with verbs. But when you are using a verb in your sentence, the verb needs to be, it needs to stop being a verb and it needs to become a gerund. So I got used to cleaning the small chapel. All right, so get used to, it is always followed by an ing form, a gerund, or by a noun. All right, that's important, like truly important. So in this case, we have a noun, by the way. Let me mark it with a different color so you remember that this is a noun. Yeah, we have it there. Right, so I got used to cleaning the small chapel. Now, let's work on the meaning, because we know that used to is useful for talking about past habits. This one is useful for talking about new habits. So what does I got used to cleaning the small chapel mean in Spanish? Can anybody translate this sentence for me?
Tengo que acostumbrarme.
Tengo que acostumbrarme. Oh, like the second one.
Estaba acostumbrado.
Yeah, yes. The second one is tengo que acostumbrarme. This one. Tengo que acostumbrarme al ruido. But what about this one? I got used to cleaning the small chapel.
Me acostumbré.
Me acostumbré. There you go. Thank you very much, Alejandra. So yes. Me acostumbré a limpiar la pequeña capilla, I would say. Yeah. So I got used to. So new habits. Then get used to would mean acostumbrarse. Yeah. Whereas this would mean solía in Spanish. Solía jugar con botellas, con pequeñas botellas. But this one would mean acostumbrarse. Yeah. So new habits, all right? Things that they are not related to the past, right? So of course I can say something in the past, yeah. So me acostumbré, it's very possible. But also for new habits that you are trying, you have just acquired or you want to acquire. I have to get used to, tengo que acostumbrar. Yeah, so it is very important to remember this structure. It's get used to ing form. Get used to, acostumbrarse. Yeah, related to something that is quite new. So when I say I got used to cleaning the small chapel, why is this a new habit? Because when I say this, I know that it's not something that you used to do in the past, like a habit that you had for a long time. Probably it's something that it's kind of new in your life. So if I say I got used to cleaning the chapel, it means that it was not something that I did in the past, like a regular thing. But now I have this responsibility. So yeah, I got used to cleaning the small chapel. Like it's recent in my life. Even though it's in the past, it's a recent habit. It's not something that I had in the past for a long time, as a difference with used to. Yeah, so for example, I could say, I have gotten used to speaking English in class, for example. We're talking about a new thing. So it can also be used in the present perfect. I have gotten used to speaking English in class. It's a new thing for me, right? So I get used to learning new things very quickly, for example. All right, so again, this is something that I can do like without much effort. I get used to learning new things very quickly. So I can acquire a new habit very quickly. All right, so yeah, the deal with get used to is that you can use it in different tenses, depending on what you mean, because you have the structure got, get. So with that verb, you can conjugate it in different ways. Now, let me see. Sorry, what is the translation in Spanish? Oh, yes, we said it. Have got, it wouldn't be have got or have gotten. Yeah, you can use it in the have gotten option. I've gotten used to. So yeah, it is possible. Got used to, adjective. Be used to adjective, used to verb. I'm not sure what that means. Could you say I'll have to get used to? Yes. So for example, I'm starting a new job next week. So I'll have to get used to speaking to new people. I don't know. Right, so I'm starting a new job next week. I forgot to write down the word week. So I'll have to get used to speaking to new people. Yeah, it's possible to use it in all of the tenses. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. But it's related to, again, the idea of a new habit. It's not something that has been happening for a long time in your life. It's a recent habit, if you wish, right? So it's not the same if I say, let me put it here. I used to clean the small chapel. I don't know, every Sunday, for example, after the mass. After the mass, right? So I used to clean the small chapel. Talks about a habit that I had in the past. And since it was a habit that I had in the past, I kind of have the idea that it was for a long time. It happened very often. Whereas if you say I got used to cleaning the small chapel, without more context, it feels like it's something new in your life, right? So you've recently gotten used to cleaning the chapel. It's not something that has been happening for a long time in your life. That would be the difference between those two. Yeah, so it is very important to notice the difference. Again, this is the key. It's a new habit in your life. Yeah, now tell me, do you have questions about this? Do you need more examples? Are we doing all right? Used to. Yeah. All right. So again, remember the ing form, please. That's very important, and that is a big difference between used to and get used to. All right. So this is key. It's definitely key. It's something that we need to keep in mind. Now, the last structure that I want you to pay attention to tonight is be used to. All right, so be used to talks about present habits, okay? Not past, not new, but present habits. For example, I can say I'm used to preparing my prayer at night. Again, I'm used to preparing my prayer at night. What do I need? The ing form, of course. This is not different from the previous structure, so I really need the ing form. And also, you can use the noun form with be used to. So I am used to the noise. Yeah, the noise being the noun here. All right, so, oops. I just wanted to copy this. Let me try again. Yep. So I'm used to the noise, or I'm used to preparing my prayer at night, right? So it's a present habit. It's something that now I am kind of trying to keep in mind, all right? So does anybody know, or can anybody translate this into Spanish, please? I'm used to preparing my prayer at night. How can we say that in Spanish?
Yo usualmente me preparo, algo así.
Yo usualmente me preparo, not quite, not really. It's not like that. Does anybody know?
Usualmente estoy preparando.
Not quite. It's nothing to do with usualmente.
Estoy acostumbrada.
There you go. Estoy acostumbrada. Yes. I'm used to preparing my prayer at night. Estoy acostumbrada a preparar mi... What's prayer in Spanish? Prayer.
Oración.
Oración. Yes, there you go. My prayer at night. Mi oración en la noche. Yes, I'm used to preparing. Estoy acostumbrada. Yeah, so it's something that I do. It's in my routine. I do it. Okay, so used to has nothing to do with usually. Okay, it's not usualmente. So the whole structure, be used to, it's estar acostumbrada. O estar acostumbrado, of course. Acostumbrado o acostumbrado. Yeah, so yeah, it is necessary to keep it in mind because those little translations are going to help us also remember what's the difference between each of them. Solía in the past, now it's acostumbrarse in the new habit, and I'm already used to, ya estoy acostumbrada a algo. That would be it, yeah? So what is the difference also? Here you use get, or got, or gotten, used to. But here you are going to use the verb to be. I am used to. I am used to talking to my students after class, for example. Yeah, let me write it here. I'm used to talking to my students after each class. All right, so this is a habit that I have in the present. It's part of my routine, if you wish. I'm used to talking. Estoy acostumbrada a hablar con mis estudiantes después de cada clase. All right, it's a habit that I already have. But in the past, when I didn't have this habit, I had to get used to talking to my students after each class. It wasn't a habit for me. I got used to talking to my students after each class because I had to practice. It was a new thing for me, if you wish. Also, if it's a past habit and it doesn't happen anymore, I would say I used to talk to my students after each class before the pandemic. It was a habit. It's not anymore. I used to talk to my students after each class before the pandemic. All right, so let me write those examples so you can see them. I used to talk student after each class before the pandemic. All right, so this was a habit, but it's not a habit anymore. I don't have this habit in the present. It's not something that happens anymore. Then if I wasn't used to this and I had to get used to this, so I could say I got used to talking to my students after each class after the pandemic. I don't know. All right, so then we are going to change it. It wasn't a habit that I used to have in the past, but something happened and I had to change, okay? And finally, we have this example. Let me move it to the bottom. So I'm used to talking to my students after each class, all right? So now you can see the difference between all of this. This is a past habit. It's over. It's not connected to the present. It's not my habit anymore. It used to happen. It doesn't happen anymore. But if I say I got used to talking to my students, it may be a new habit for me. It's something that I had to learn how to do. And I probably have it right now. And if I say I'm used to talking to my students, it's because in the present, I do it. I don't have a problem. I got used to that already. So it's my habit right now. All right. So that would be the difference between those three again. Something in the past, not connected to the future. I don't do it anymore. To the present, sorry, I don't do it anymore. Then I got used to talking to my students after each class, something new. And then I'm used to talking to my students after each class. Now it's a habit for me. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm not used to preparing an essay in another language. That's a good thing because now you have to get used to it. Let me celebrate this. All right, so yeah, that would be it. It's not so complicated, but I think that it gets a little complicated when you need to remember that when you are using get used to or be used to, you need to use the ing form, the gerund, after that. Whereas when you are using used to, you don't need the gerund, but you need the base form. Okay, so that's something that you need to keep in mind. Also, another thing that is confusing is these two. Got used to, is it for new habits or for present habits? Yeah, my students always have that question. Then you need to practice. Remember, got used to is useful for new habits. Whereas I'm used to, it's for present habits, things that you already do. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Now tell me, do you have questions about this? Any comment? Any complaint? I'm hardly getting used to my teenagers. Yes, teenagers, that's another story. We are sorry for you, Sash. Yes, hardly getting used to. That's a very good good example. So hardly getting used to. What does hardly mean in this sentence? It's a good, very good sentence. Nobody knows what hardly means in that sentence? Difícilmente. Difícilmente me estoy acostumbrando. Could be. Yeah, so when you use hardly, it's related to the word hard. So it's something that is not so easy for you. Yeah, so yeah, it's being a little difficult to get used to the teenagers, if you wish. All right, so yeah, that would be it. Now we need to practice, which is always like the difficult part. And now we need to see if we are used to using this language. So let me bring up the exercises that I prepared. We're going to complete the exercises together like last time. Here I only have examples with used to or be used to, because I think those are the most confusing ones, but yeah, we are going to practice all of them after this. So the first one, let's read it. We have I, something, live in Finland, but now I live in France. So what is it? How can we complete this sentence?
I used to.
I used to. I used to live or I used to live in?
Live.
I used to live.
There you
In
go.
base form.
In the base form, yes. So I used to live in Finland, but now I live in France. All right, so I had another habit in the past, but now I have another habit. Yeah, for example, I could say in the beginning, I missed Finland, but I got used to living in France with time. Okay. Let me write it in case you didn't get what I said. At first, I missed Finland so much, but I got used to living in France with time. Right? So I got used to, I acquired a new habit, a recent habit. All right, so yeah, that's also how you can use the other structure that we are not including here. Then we have number 2. He, Samin, sit in the back of the classroom, but now he prefers to sit in the front row. So what is it?
He used to sit.
He used to sit. Very good. Thank you very much. He used to sit. He used to sit in the back of the classroom, but now he prefers to sit in the front row. Let's go with the next one. When I was a child, I play games with my friends in a big field near my house after school every day. It's a very long sentence. What is it?
Used to
Used to
play.
play.
There you go. Yes, I used to play. Thank you very much. So when I was a child, I used to play. How do we know? Just because of the time marker. If we have the time marker, that's it. There's nowhere to escape. Yep. Then we have, it's hard for my children to stay inside on a cold, rainy day. They, something, play outside in the big field near our house. They play there almost every day. So, what is it?
They are
They-
used to playing.
Mm-hmm. There we go. They're used to playing. Why? Because we are talking about the present. It's hard. So we know that now in the present, it's hard for my children to stay outside on a cold rainy day. Because now in the present, they are used to playing outside in the big field near our house. They play there, again, present, almost every day. Right? So everything is in the present. We know that it's a present habit. Number 5, people, something, believe in that the world was flat. What is
Used
it?
to
Believe.
Used to. Yes. Used to believe in the past. They don't believe it anymore.
I used to.
Are used to believing?
Yes,
Hmm.
there are people who still believe that
Yes.
uh,
Yeah.
the world is flat.
Yeah. That's right. Are you one of those, Miguel? Or do you think it's round?
Obviously, I am. No, I
Obviously.
don't believe that.
Obviously, of course. Why would I not be sure that it's not flat? Yeah, people are used to believing. Yeah, it could be. In this case, it could be either. Why? Because, yeah, as Miguel said, it's something that is possible. What's the problem here is that we have was. So that indicates that is in the past. So if for this to be present, are used to be living, then the second verb needs to be in the present too. All right, so yeah, that would be the only thing that doesn't help us have this sentence with are used to be living, because we have the second verb in the past form, and that's important. Yeah, so keep it in mind. That's gonna help you decide when you are completing some of these exercises in the exam. Always have a look at the whole sentence. Do we have present in the sentence or do we have the past? I think there was someone raising their hand and I didn't get the question.
It was me, but it's okay. We all talk about the exercise I was looking for.
Oh, all right. Yeah, good. Thank you, Alejandra.
Val,
Yes, tell me.
could we review the number 4?
Number 4.
I think the past habit was playing outside the big field near our house,
Yeah. Why do you think it's a past habit?
because now the children has to stay inside the house,
Mm,
and in the past they used to play outside, no?
all right. Yeah. All right. It looks like it, but what we have here is that all of the verbs are in the present. So we know that even though they should stay inside on a cold rainy day, it's hard for them. Yeah, they don't do it and they play outside, again, the present, almost every day. All right, so we have there here, there refers to the big field. All right, so it's hard for them to stay inside because they like playing outside and they play there almost every day. All right, so just because we have the rest of the verbs in the present, we know that this is a present habit. All right. For this to be a past habit, we need to change everything in the sentence. Let's do that. So it was hard. That's where we need to change. It was hard for my children to stay inside on a cold rainy day. They used to play outside in the big field near our house. They played there almost every day. Okay, so we would need to change everything in order to make sense with the past form, right? So that's why we are using the present. Okay, that would be
Okay.
the difference. Yeah.
Thanks.
No, thank you for the question because it's very good to clarify those things so we don't get lost. Yeah, so thank you, Marcelo, for that question. All right. Yeah, anything else that we need to review before going on with the next ones? Yeah. Okay, so don't forget, guys, that we need to pay attention to the verb. Is it in the present or is it in the past? Now, what would this sentence look like with got used to or get used to? Can anybody help me with creating that sentence? The same idea, but with got or get used to. Let me change it. What do we need to change in order to use this structure in the middle for a new habit?
First
Yeah,
one is it is. It
Yeah.
is hard.
Yeah. What else? What is
Uh,
the change?
They get I don't remember the new sentence, the new structure for me. They get used to playing.
Yeah, they get used to playing. Yeah, let's see if it makes sense. Good. They get used to playing outside, blah, blah, blah.
Playing, they playing there almost every day.
All right, playing. Oh, you're changing everything. All right. Now let's see if it makes sense. Thank you, Maria Elena. It's hard for my children to stay outside on a cold day, rainy day. They get used to playing outside in the big field near our house. They play in there almost every day. Is this correct, guys? Who can help us here?
No,
No, it's not correct. Why not?
because we have here the present, not continuous tenses. They play
Okay.
there.
All right. So without the ing form, they play there almost every day. Okay. Yeah. Now we have the present in both of them. And here also we have the present. Does it make sense? It's hard for my children to stay inside on a cold rainy day. They get used to playing. It's a tricky question, isn't it?
They got.
They got. Let's change it. So we have the present. It is hard in the present for my children to stay inside because they got used to playing outside in the field near our house. Now it makes sense. Sorry?
They are getting.
They are getting.
Oh, getting.
Yeah. I like it too. Yeah, it makes sense. Thank you, Nicole. Yep. Let me copy it because now with the past form, it's correct. It makes sense. But also we can say they are getting. Okay, because it is hard now for them to stay inside because they are getting used to playing outside. So yeah, it's a new habit that they are acquiring. Yeah, I like it, and it's perfectly possible to use this in the present continuous. So yeah, I think that get used to plus ing is the most versatile of all of them because you can definitely use it in all of the tenses. So yeah, good. So they are getting used to playing. They are acquiring the new habit. Let me see the chat. How about this? It's been hard. They are getting used to playing. Yes? Also, you can change everything. Like, it's been hard for my children to stay inside on a cold rainy day because they are getting used to playing outside. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, very good. So, yeah, I think the most versatile one, it's also kind of the most complex one. We'll see. Yeah, we can also use the same idea with this one. People are getting used to. Are getting used to believing that the world is flat because of the social media spam, for example. Yeah. So it is perfectly possible, but it depends on what we mean. This is a past habit. This is a present habit, and this is a new habit. All right. So that would be the difference, but then we're still talking about habits. All right. So now let's go with number 6. We have trains, and then we have B, the main means of cross-continental travel. Today, most people take airplanes for long-distance travel. So this is very easy.
Used to be.
There you go. Used to be the main means of course cross-continental travel. Yeah, it's in the past because how do we know? Because it's making a contrast. I had forgotten the word, sorry. It is making a contrast between the past and the present because it says today, meaning in the present. Then we have number 7. Mrs. Stanton's job requires her to travel extensively throughout the world. She traveled by plane.
Is used to traveling.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you very much. She is used to traveling. She's used to traveling by plane. So why do we know she is used to? Because the job requires. This is the present. Let me mark it. Right, so it's the present. She is now in the present, used to traveling by plane. All right, good. Then we have number 8. You and I are from different cultures. You, something, have fish for breakfast. I, something, have cheese and bread for breakfast. How can we feel this?
Are used to have?
Are used to have or to having?
Having.
Having, yes, ing form. You are used to having fish for breakfast, and I
am used to having.
I'm used to having. Thank you very much. Yes, I'm used to having cheese and bread for breakfast. How do we know it's are used to? Because we are using the present here. You and I are from different cultures in the present now. So now you are used to having fish, and I'm used to having cheese and bread in the present. Let's go with number 9. What, something, do on summer days when you were a child? This is very easy.
Did you used to do?
There you go. Did you used to do? Thank you very much, Diana. So what did you, I forgot the you, did you used to do on summer days when you were a child? Right, so this is a question. Then again, we don't need the D at the end of, sorry, that's not what we don't need. The D at the end of use because we have did, right? So even if Google Documents corrects this, it's not necessary. So we have to ignore it. All right, number 10, Bill lives alone. He doesn't mind this because he
Used to live.
Is used to.
Is used to live.
Is used to living.
is used to living. Don't forget the ing form, guys. Yeah, so he is used to living alone now because he lives alone in the present. And we know that in the present, he doesn't mind this. It's not a problem for him because now in the present, he is used to living alone. All right, so yeah, careful with that. Present requires present. Number 11, Tom drank a lot of coffee. Now he prefers tea. We have a contrast. What is it?
Used to drinking.
Yeah, used to
Used to
drink,
drink.
drank. Yes, not without ing here because used to, only used to, doesn't require ing. It requires base form. So Tom used to drink a lot of coffee, but now in the present, he prefers tea. So we are making a contrast between the past and the present. Whenever you have words like today, nowadays, currently, now, right now, etc., it's because you are making a contrast between a past habit and what happens in the present. Let's go with number 12. I have to work hard. This is not a problem for me. I have always worked hard. So
I am used to working.
very good. Yes, thank you very much, Diana. I'm used to working hard. It's not a problem. So in the present, I have to work hard. Again, present. Oops. I need a new mouse. Yeah, so in the present, I have to work hard. In the present, this is not a problem for me because I have always worked hard. That means that I started working hard in the past. In the present, I am still working hard. So I have always done it. It's always been there in my life. So I am used to working hard. It's not a problem for me. Yeah, Marcelo, tell us.
And could we say I get used to working?
Yes, it's perfectly possible. Not I get, but it would be better to say I got used to work.
I got used. Okay,
Yes.
thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for that. I got used to working hard. Yeah, it's not a problem. I can do it. And since I have always worked hard, I got used to working hard. It's not a problem. Yeah, both of them are correct here. Yeah, Miguel, tell us.
In this last sentence, I got used to working. It means that it's some habit he always do, right?
Not quite. It's a new habit.
Oh, new habit. Okay.
Yes, a new habit.
Okay.
It's like a recent thing. He got used to it. Yeah.
Okay.
But,
And
yeah.
another question: it's possible to combine this with the present perfect?
What do you mean? Okay.
I don't know. For example, in Spanish we say me he acostumbrado a pasar la Navidad solo, for example.
Yes.
Which the equivalent in English for that type of question?
Yeah, it is perfectly possible, and you can say I've gotten used to. Yes. Used to spending Christmas on my own. It's perfectly possible. Yep. It makes sense and it's correct. I can also use it in this context, like I've gotten used to working. It works perfectly correct. Yes. Good.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It's a good question because, yeah, it reminds us that it is possible to use get used to in all of the tenses. It makes sense. Yep. Then we have number 13. Some friends of yours have just moved into a flat on a busy street. It's very noisy. They will. How can we feel this?
They will get to noise.
They will used to the noise. They will get used to the noise. Yeah, they will have to. There's no other option. All right, so remember that the word flat means apartment. It's another word for apartment on a busy street. All right, then we have number 14. When we were children, this is very easy.
Used to swim.
There you go. Thank you very much, Lena. We used to swim every day. And number 15, I haven't been able to, well, I haven't been to the cinema for ages now. We go a lot. What is it? Nobody knows?
We are used to going.
We are used to going. Why do you think we are used to going is the correct one?
Estamos acostumbrados a ir mucho. I don't know.
All
It sounds
right.
more logic in my head, but
Yeah.
We
Maybe
didn't
it's in
use-
past. We were used to going a lot.
Mm,
Or in negative form, we were.
We didn't use to go a lot.
we didn't used to. Oh my gosh, now we have too many options. Now, look at this. I haven't been to the cinema for ages now. Like, this is an expression, but it says now. And I told you, when you have words like now, nowadays, in the present, currently, you are making a contrast between the present situation and the past situation. So,
We don't used to.
I don't think so. I would say it's just we used to go a lot. In the past, we used to go a lot, but now in the present, I haven't been to the cinema for ages. It's not my habit anymore. It used to be my habit in the past, but now in the present, it's not anymore. My habits had changed, you know, because I haven't been to the cinema in a long time now. Does this make sense, or does it sound weird? Because we had so many answers that now I'm not sure if you got it.
It makes sense.
It makes sense? Yeah. All right, so again, remember when you have words like now, currently, in the present, right now, etc., anything that refers to in the present, usually we are making a contrast between what used to happen in the past and what happens now in the present. It's like the same thing that we have here. Tom used to drink a lot of coffee in the past, but now in the present, he prefers tea. So we are making a contrast between the past and the present. All right, and finally we have Dennis gave up smoking 2 years ago. What happens with Dennis?
He used to smoke.
There you go. He used to smoke, but now he doesn't smoke because he stopped smoking. He gave up smoking. Thank you very much. So yeah, that's it. He used to smoke probably a lot. All right, so yeah, again, you need to be very clear about how to use all of them. Don't mix them up, please. Used to, when you're talking about past habits, doesn't have the word get, doesn't have the verb to be. It's just used to. Then when you are using the expression get used to for new habits, it's just get used to. So don't mix it with verb to be, with other things. Get used to. And finally, be used to is the only one that uses the verb to be. So please don't mix them with got. He got is used to. No, it doesn't make sense. Okay, so careful with all of those ideas because they are different structures and they refer to different things. There's no need to mix them up because also it doesn't make sense. Now, yes, of course, I'm going to share it. I'm going to copy it in all of your personal folders, like the previous document that we that we used last class. Although, if you want to see it right now, it's on the student folders that I have shared with you. It's in this folder called templates. So you can go there and you can find it. Where is it? I don't know where it is. My mouse is getting crazy. Yeah, here, talking about habits here, right? So yeah, it's there. Although after the class, I'm going to make a copy in all of your folders. It's not a problem. All right, so now I want you guys to practice with this, okay? I'm going to share the document, or you know where it is, but I don't want you to write in the document. I want you to practice speaking. Okay, we have the first activity, which is giving you prompts, okay? For example, you have just retired. That is your prompt. Now you have to think about your life as a retired person. So I used to go to my office every day at 8 a.m. But I didn't used to take long vacations, for example. I don't know. Yeah. All right, so this is just to practice used to or didn't used to. Okay, I give you a prompt and then you complete the sentence. Again, you don't need to write anything. It's just for speaking. Okay, so I wrote it here just to give you an example, but I don't want you to write down anything on the document, just speaking in this case. And I have another activity that I'm hoping that you can get to. And we have, again, images and some prompts that I'm going to give you. Well, the prompts are actually the images. What I want you to do is to talk about computers. For example, you can say, in the past, computers used to be very big. Very big and I don't know, and noisy, I guess. Yeah. But now they are smaller, they are not so noisy. Yeah. Then you can say, for example, I'm not used to using old computers. I don't know how they work, for example. How they work. I'm getting used to using I don't know, how are they called? MacBooks, for example. Yeah. Like they are I don't know how to spell that. Oh, with an A. All right, so what I want you to do is try to use these images as prompts in order to make sentences like this. Again, I don't want you to write anything. I just want you to speak, because I'm going to move this document to your personal folders after the class, so you can write then, but not now, okay? So yeah, just use it to talk and to have conversations about these specific structures. Right, so now we are going to go to the small rooms to practice in pairs. We have practiced all together. Remember to complete this exercise just by speaking, and then let's talk about the images here. Of course, if you don't know what to say about the world, you can move on to the clothes, or you can skip some of them. It's not a problem. All right, so do we have questions before moving to the small rooms? No. That's it. All right, so again, you know where the document is. I'm going to share the link just in case. Let me create all the rooms so you can go there if you want to already. And that's the document in case you don't know how to get there or you want to get a quicker access. Yeah, let's go then to the small rooms and practice speaking. I'll be visiting you as always. Now that everybody is back, Yeah, I must remind you to not miss the next class. We are going to review, just in case anybody is not familiar with the contents. The exam is going to be about Unit 4, Present Perfect, Simple and Continuous. Compare and contrast, it's comparative and superlatives. Unit 6, everything related to the narrative tenses. And Unit 7, related to used to, would, and I'm going to include the rest of the structures, get used to and be used to. Only that, well, only that, just that, it's not that much. Yeah, but I'm going to compile a document where I'm going to share like the main things you need to remember about them so you can review and prepare your exam. And I'm going to share that document before the next class so you can have it with you when we are working on these contents. Remember, the exam is on Saturday, so please, oh please, don't forget about that. We are going to take the exam as the usual way, like the whole day. We're not going to get connected to Zoom because you need to only worry about the exam. All right, so yeah, that would be it for tonight. If you have extra questions, stay with me a little longer. Otherwise, I'll be seeing you back next class. Thank you for coming.
Bye bye,
Thank you.
Val. Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Bye-bye.
Val. Bye bye.
Valeria.
Thank
Good night.
you.
Bye to everybody.